In this daily drop, I'm going to talk about why you might want a remote controlled HDMI switcher as opposed to one that's just manual. So let's go. Okay, here we are with another episode and another problem solver. And this comes from a very specific thing that I'm trying to solve, which is I have little HDMI switchers, which will allow me to take 2 or 3 cameras and then have a single output to a monitor and be able to switch manually on the device between those. The problem is that there are situations where you're in production and you don't have the time to walk over to this little device, this little switcher, and press the button. So I started to look at solutions that were remote controlled. One, I want to say that there are ones that are smaller than this that have 2 inputs, 1 output, but you have to attach an IR infrared dongle. So you have a cable coming out of the little small switcher, which I think is a real pain. Easy to get lost, bent, broken, whatever. So this particular one that I found has 3 inputs, 1 output. And the IR component, while it's slightly larger, is built into the unit. So put some Velcro on this and stick this on top of your monitor, and away you go. Now, this particular 17-inch small HD that I have, I love, but it doesn't have 2 HDMI inputs, and very oftentimes we're using 2 cameras with HDMI outputs that we want to go into 1 monitor. So this solves that, but with the addition of having a remote control. So what I can do is set this up. I can plug 2 cameras or 3 cameras into this, and then have 1 output going into this monitor or just a regular consumer monitor. And then I can switch between 1, 2, and 3 with the remote control from wherever I am within line of sight of that infrared receiver on set or on location. So I think it's a great problem solver for very little money. If you have a manual switcher like I do and you can access it easily, like in a space that I'm in right now, then great. But if you're trying to get multiple HDMI inputs or outputs from cameras to an input like this may be a good solution and a time saver on set. I'll put a link to at least this one in particular because I know it works and you don't have to plug in power. I've tested it. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Don't forget to, and I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Drop.